All right, babe, what episode are we on?
I actually have no idea.
I don't know.
I think it's 7 podcast.
We're at season 2, episode 7?
Podcast season 2, episode 7. I'm pretty sure it's 7. I will correct it on the thing, but I'm pretty sure it's 7. But it'll be correct on the actual, written podcast.
All right.
We are in the car, so it's going to be shaky because we're on the freeway. So excuse the noise. We'll speak loud.
This is where we actually, I think, do our best podcast, too, is literally on the road doing road trips. Because you have, nothing else to do. And we normally talk a bunch, in the car just to each other. So it's, super natural for us.
Yeah. I feel like we've just had a hard time, lately, planning it at home.
Yes.
It's been a real struggle working from home. And I guess struggle would be the right. It's just, we do a lot. We run Unicorn Landing. I do so much behind the scenes. We do so much social media. And then we have our podcast, and then we have all the other, and our Spicy account, and we have, when I say Spicy, you can say OnlyFans.
You can say OnlyFans.
And we have our, I'm so used to talking on TikTok lives, and then we have our, just everything we do, and then you have all your stuff, and your Mr. Report, it's it's so hard to organize it, and I get really hard being forced to do, content. So I don't know. We do struggle with this. Yeah.
Well, it's hard too, just because you think that it'd be a lot of fun to work from home, and don't get me wrong, it's very grateful to work from home.
Yeah.
But the challenge though is we do so many different things. So it's okay, making sure 15 minutes here. Okay, this is done. Next. And then it's not like you go into work, you clock in, and then you're okay, for the next 3 hours before lunch, I got to get this done.
And someone's also making you get it done. You have a boss. I'm your boss though.
Yeah, true. But even then, it's next thing you know, I'm I'm going to go mow the grass or whatever.
Yeah, I do this today. So we try to make daily schedules, but yeah, it's rough. So anyways, we are better when we're filming on the road, and we're on a road trip. We are headed up to Washington right now for one of my daughter's
band competition.
Marching band competition, yes. Yeah. So our Octobers are very, very consumed with marching band season, competitions every weekend, and we absolutely love it. We love being a part of it, and we help with the team and all of that. So we are our team.
Yeah. So it comes to our topic on this podcast.
Yeah. So we are going. Yes, that does relate to our topic.
Yeah. We
are going to do a podcast on. Sorry, I just got distracted by a blow-up cloud on this. Sorry. We're doing our podcast on swinging in real life versus swinging in social media. So, thank you for checking out the Impulsive Duo podcast. Remember, our content is for 18 and over. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and check out all of our other resources at theimpulsiveduo.com. What you see portrayed on social media, how we portray it on social media. We try, yeah.
Yeah, no, we try our best, I think, to be authentic about it, because that was one of the things that bothered us, I think, the most. In the beginning, I don't think it bothered us, but as we really got into this lifestyle, it started to bother us of how the lifestyle was kind of portrayed, that it was just this one big party, and this is what everybody focuses on.
Well, and then you just feel like you're doing it wrong, because you're oh, well, shit, if they're hooking up, how come it's so hard for me? If they're hooking up with people every weekend, they're going to these events, where do I find these events? Where do I get those outfits? Where I have to wear that to a party? I have to look like that? I have, there's just so much that it's put on it, and then you're oh, I'm not doing it wrong. I'm not cut out to do this because that's not me. And realistically, even me, on social media, and that it's not me. I'm not this super fancy girl. I'm a hoodie and jeans and my Converse type of girl. I'm not a dress up. You'll see even pictures we post at events. I'm usually in a tank top and a skirt. I'm just not a fancy. You know what I mean?
You're not an over-the-top type dresser.
Yeah,
no, and you're really not. That's one of the things that attracted me to you when I met you, was that you're the type of girl that can throw on some jeans and, shoes and stuff, and let's go hiking, or let's go outside and go do something. And it's one of those that, lifestyle-wise, if you watch a lot of the content stuff out there, it's you think that you have to do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also that thing that everybody on social media also does OnlyFans. Now I can't talk about we have an OnlyFans account, absolutely. But I think once you get to be once you've already out there as a swinger and you already and you have a platform, because the only way to really grow on OnlyFans is you have to have some sort of platform or some sort of way to market it. So it's kind of a natural progression. But a lot of people, like, they'll, you know, hook up with people and they're filming. We do not consider, when we are filming, we do not consider that swinging. Not even a little bit. We don't film those interactions typically. I mean, yes, we'll, you know, agree content. It might be couples or it might be a girl or guy, but we, you know what I mean? For us, we don't consider that swinging.
No, because it's not really like, it's not spontaneous. It's not like a build up to it. It's not hot at all.
No, it's not hot. Filming content is not hot. It's work. And you're working on angles and you're like, okay, was that long enough? 5 minutes of this position, 5, you know, like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then you think, like, you know, everyone on social media, oh, they're going to a party every weekend. Who's watching their kids? They're going to, they're live all the time. They're, you know, they're all hooking up with each other.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and we've struggled with it before too, where we've looked at each other and where it's like, you know, oh my God, we haven't done anything in like a couple months. Are we even still swingers? Because
I say we need street cred.
Yeah, you look around and it just constantly looks like people are fucking other people just nonstop. And then it's also kind of like you see a lot of the same people kind of keep rotating through, and so it's like, okay, do I need to like hook up with a bunch of regulars nonstop? Like,
well, and then we've also, like, so we're not big in like the big group, like, you know, we're not part of, you know, like a big group that posts on social media and hooks up with each other. So I've literally had people be like, well, you never post people you make content with. And it's like, that's not our life. Like, our life is actually much more like quiet and conservative, like, than, and a lot of these swingers, and I'm not even saying it's everybody on social media, their lives are like that too. But the 15 second videos you're seeing is not their whole life. That's the only part that you're seeing. These people still have lives and kids and jobs and, you know, families and vanilla friends and real life too. And I think that's where a lot of people, like, I don't know. I mean, social media is just social media.
And I think also, you know, you see a lot of that content. I think the content gets more and more, and it has gotten a little bit more and more extreme because it, you know, I've struggled with it before, and you've had to talk to me about it even, of like, you start going, well, we need more views, or we need more followers, or we need more subscriptions to our OnlyFans, because let's face it, podcasters don't make much money. I mean, they really don't. $20 a month, we can go eat a cool meal at, you know, McDonald's.
You make more than that. I mean, the ad, it depends on how many you do.
Yeah.
And how, like, your ads. But yeah, the majority of podcasters don't make a ton of money unless you're having a ton of ads. It's not where the, like, money's at. No,
and we even know some really large podcasters
like, we don't really
that,
make shit. Like, doesn't pay bills.
Yeah, you know, a good friend of ours who lives in Colorado, we've done some podcasts with him, Kevin Hughes. You know, every time we talk to him too, because he has like hundreds of thousands of follower on his podcast, and it's like, hey, are you doing this full time? Because that was his dream, and he's like, no, I'm almost there, and it's been that way for about a year, you know, and so it's like, okay.
You think we're all out living this glamorous life just because we do social media, and it's just portrayed so. It's just portrayed to, like, people's lives are better than yours. Like, people that are all of a sudden on social media, you think they're better than yours. They don't face the same struggles. They're making all this money. You know what I mean? And it's the reality of it all. Like, not even close to.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that there are some people, I think, on social media that make a lot of money, and you look around and you think everyone's making a ton of money.
But it's not the swingers, because nobody wants to work with swingers. The people that make social media, money on social media, that do this actually full time, are like more like everyday lifestyle bloggers that do like a lot of like work with a lot of big companies. That's where the money's at.
That's where money. Yeah. There is no money in swinging. Otherwise, you want to trade a bunch of like lube and like dildos and stuff.
Well, the money is in. The money is OnlyFans. That's why a lot of them do it. But we don't consider that to be swinging. That's just another small source of income, which we've actually stepped away from OnlyFans a little bit. Anybody that follows our account, I'm just really. I just come like at this point in my life, like I don't want to do anything that I don't find joy or like feel good about. Like I don't I'm not just feel do OnlyFans. I'm not against it. I just was becoming stressed and work and like on this, like I was like, I don't really like this. Like I don't really, I'd like to take some sexy pictures sometimes like that. But I just didn't like it to be such a stressor, I guess.
Well, and it kind of went against the thing. I think I struggled the most with it that isn't swinging to us, because we're very big on it. You know, you don't take one for the team. Don't do stuff that you're uncomfortable with. And I hate to say it, but when you're doing like OnlyFans content, that's why like when you were like, I don't think it's swinging, I was like, yeah, I'm the same way. I don't think it's swinging either, because it's not like you almost in a sense are taking one for the team. Like, don't get me wrong, it's easier because you're like, oh, hey, we're gonna make a lot of money off of this.
Oh well, yeah. When you're like, this will make me a couple grand.
Yeah, but it's literally, you're not like, oh my god, this was hot and spicy. You know,
and that's somebody I wanted to hook up with. I was so turned on. Yeah, and it did go against a lot of what we stood for, and I think that's one of the reasons we have kind of backed off. And it's more just like us, and we have like, you know, we have some videos and stuff that we sell that we've done. But yeah, I just feel like it really wasn't, like and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not sitting here and going to say that I am not perfect and I have not gotten wrapped up in the social media. Like, I need to do this to be somebody. I need to, you know, I need to do that if I'm gonna, you know, make my account grow. And I was constantly watching numbers and like becoming obsessed. And every time my numbers went up, I wasn't happier. It wasn't finding any joy. And I've just done a lot of like, I think people to see the real me and the real you. And I think we've done a good job of that. But I think that's even like our newer focus on social media is like,
not just promoting the sex side of it, because I think that's the side that gets promoted so much. And that's great. I mean, I think everybody becomes swingers.
When you say swingers, it's sex. So everyone, duh.
But that's the obvious though, too.
Like, why don't we also talk about, like, what about those real life swingers out there who are moms, you know, and dads with 3 younger kids, and they can barely swing twice a year. They like to watch the funny videos, but they also, or the newbies that are nervous, or like, what about all those people? Like, that's just not their reality either. Like, where do they learn, or where do they see a more realistic side of swinging?
Yeah, no, because I mean, I think we were guilty of it too. Like, because we were, I think, like a lot of people are now, and I think that's why swinging and this lifestyle is like more open and people talk about it because of social media. But it was like, even with us, you see everybody hooking up with everybody, and you're like, oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to find people so easily, and it's going to, like, look how much, like, there's no effort in finding people and like connecting with people. And then you find out like, oh, this is not how it is, you know. And I think that is very discouraging to a lot of people who get in this lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. And they're like, what's wrong with me? And how come I can't find people? And I'm about to give up. Or it's so hard to find a unicorn. Like, people get like, well, and then people get so wrapped up, so obsessed with it. And then people also like, if people get mad at me, they're like, there's not very many unicorns on your site, or there's not very many unicorns out there. I'm like, okay, well, there's not very many. Like, you can't force anyone to do any of this, or like, they just, and they see it on social media. They're like, well, other people can find them, or other people can find all these bulls they like to play with, or
And that's the problem, is I think we judge a lot of our own personal life and our personal success off of a lot of the crap that you see on social media. And reality is a lot of people who are on social media are very lonely people, because you're spending a lot of time doing this stuff. A lot of people, especially when it comes to swinger content, there's not a lot of people that really want to do like swinger content with you. I mean, we've ran into that where we weren't even able essentially to meet up with people because they're like, oh, you're public about it.
Yeah, we've like, since we've gone public, we haven't had too much of an issue. Like, I don't really have anyone that doesn't want to be seen with me. My vanilla friends, like, locally, like, they don't care, like, at all. Like, nobody, it's not like everyone in town knows.
Nobody can. Most people don't care.
You know, no one knows I'm a swinger. Not nobody, but like majority. Like, I'm very, like, we're headed to a band competition right now, and all the band parents, none of them know we're swingers, and we're public swingers. So unless people are in the lifestyle, but we did run into it one time where people were very cautious about, because they didn't want to ruin their careers, which we totally respect. And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, we are very hush hush. I would never, like, if you guys ever, you know, want to grab coffee, they're kind of, you know. And they were like, well, we don't know if we could, like, actually, like, go out with you, but, like, we could, like, run into you somewhere and then, like, pretend that we knew. They wanted, like, this whole story about how they, like, knew us, like, years ago and all that. I was like, who's gonna ask that?
I know.
Like, I promise you, we're not gonna get recognized in our town, which we could. But then here's the problem: we probably would.
Yeah, we probably would, and then they would freak out. But then again, the people that recognize us are on that kind of content.
Yeah, I'm like, the only people that recognize us are swingers, and then if they see you with us, they're gonna be like, oh, they're swingers too. And there's an unspoken rule in the swinger world that you don't talk about other swingers or out people, and if you do, you're literally the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's hit us in those different aspects.
That was the only time that I was like, okay, no worries, I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we were like, that kind of sucks.
But then it's funny because we have other friends who are very hush hush about it, like our friends that we hang out with here locally, and they're not like public swingers. They also kind of don't care. They're not like.
Yeah.
I mean, they're private, but they're not like, I don't know. They don't. Yeah, and they're staying with us. I mean, we go to baseball like in public. We're going to a concert with them. We go to baseball games. Like we don't. Yeah, they don't seem to care. So it's kind of just hit or miss, but it hasn't hit. But what the bigger you become and you become a public figure, it does start to it does get a little more lonely. And my biggest thing is like, people are like, oh, what do you do for a living? It's like, I feel like we have we have two lives that we live, and that part does get a little hard sometimes, I think. Like having like a secret life.
Yeah, but it's based on what we do, and most swingers aren't that way. Like most swingers, I don't think out there, and that's the thing I don't think a lot of swingers realize is, like most swingers out there, like they don't do this a whole lot. Like they'll identify as swingers, but they go to a club maybe once a year or twice a year.
Yeah,
and
or
maybe
an occasional party or talk to a few couples, or like it's very hush hush behind closed doors with friends, and just like friends, like more like casual, friends that sometimes like make out.
Yeah, but even then, it's like you can hang out with people that are swingers too, and we do, and not do anything. You literally go to a baseball game, you hang out, you laugh, you have a couple drinks or whatever, grab some food, and then you go home. You know, and it's just cool to be around those open-minded people, because I think being around like swingers, you can be more yourself.
You would talk about it a little more, obviously, like talk about like things you've done, or like whatever. But different than vanilla friends. But it's it's not always have to be about spicy playing.
Yeah. No, I totally.
But the majority of swingers that we know in our small town are not on social media, and they live very like normal lives. And they don't go to a club every weekend, and they've got kids to worry about, and like even like us, like here, we are on social media, and it looks like this is what we do, but the reality, like we're on the way to our band competition right now. My life revolves around marching band right now, and my kids, and football season, my son, and we don't.
And then it's like Halloween coming up, so like we find joy in like decorating the yard. And like, what are you going to be for Halloween?
Like we have not hung out with anybody or done anything since North Carolina. I mean, it's just not been like, it's not constantly people, and I think it's just like people like, oh, do you have any other life, dude? It's like, dude, that's not even. I mean, we have a business that we run around it, so I think that for us, it's a little bit like we have to make the content, we have to be like, we have to continue to grow our business and promote Unicorn Landing and do all of that, but it's not like the hooking up side of it is not like our life priority.
No, and I think that's where it's so obscured, and like people do get very confused with it, is they think it's solely hooking up in a lot of cases. I think that's just the stigma around it, because again, people are pushing their OnlyFans and they're pushing the sex side of it, where in reality, I mean,
some of it is very private. Like yes, I mean, some people can maybe figure out people I've hooked up with, and I've mentioned a few things, in my life, but I'm also not one of those, like, I am very, like, I'm still very, like, even quiet and shy. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about, because I know people share their experience. I'm still, like, nervous and embarrassed to, like, share those type of things.
Yeah, and it's
we
also...
talking about, we're like, oh, should we talk about our last experience? And I was like, what am I going to say? Like, oh, he was licking my pussy. Ah! I can't even say it!
No, but we're also, like, the type that, like, we don't even really have those, like, conversations. Like, we'll have conversations together, like, on our experiences, and, like, our experiences afterwards, like, our conversations are like, oh, wait, you had an orgasm and you came when he was doing this. Like, was there anything different? Like, I do it all for, like, hey, what can I do to even be better in bed with you?
Eric was kind of, not jealous, but Eric
not
was
jealous,
like,
but I was like...
The guy got, I don't know, maybe much less time, but the guy did I'm kind of hard to get off, and the guy did get me off last time we played with some friends, and Eric was like, what was he doing?
Yeah, because, like, I wanted to know.
I'm
like, okay, like, maybe he was hitting a different spot inside, and you're like, hey, do this next time, or, like, that's what I get curious about.
Yeah, no, I'm just, like, ADHD, and, like, I need some, like, almost, like, you're going down on me, I also need some other, like, external distraction. That's why I like when it's tied up, or there's, like, some sort of pressure somewhere else, and that's why I think I got off, because you were, like, going down on her, and I was, like, touching her, and, like, it was, like, The whole vibe, it was like the whole vibe that
Yeah.
was there. My brain was not thinking about like the laundry or like, you know, my brain was like in the moment.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of where our brains are even a little different too, because like I have to almost kind of focus in a little bit. And if there's too much going on, then it's just too much going on.
And I'm the opposite. I like to just let go and like and that's when I don't have to like picture the dirty thoughts in my head or anything, when they're just like all happening. Then I'm like, yeah.
But it's you know, also I don't think the other thing people realize too is, you know, the difference between how social media portrays this and the reality is how expensive this is. Most people don't have the money
so expensive
to, I mean, even with us with an app and a lot of business write-offs, I mean, we look at each other and we're like, should we do this event?
Yeah,
should we
and
not?
we get invited to events all the time, and clubs wants to come out and do this event, do that event, and we're like, you guys are like realistically traveling across the country every month is like, shit gets expensive, and it's, I mean, yeah, we try to write some of it off, but you still have to pay for it.
Yeah. And just because you wrote it off, it doesn't mean like because you wrote it off, you get a check at the end of the year.
I never got I still got my taxes from last year.
Yeah, I know. They're still...
The IRS was trying to audit me for some stuff because they didn't have all of my like income paperwork, because I never got it from Google and Apple. And then they're like, oh, we'll reach out to you in 90 days. And then they said another thing, oh, another 90 days. And I'm just like waiting. I'm like, okay, what do you need from me?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, I mean, a trip, so we don't even a turn and burn trip, because we've done those before, where we flow in, we do an event, we sleep, then we fly out the next day.
It's still just as much money.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
not as much if it's like a short. I mean, but realistic, it's still money.
It's still money. I mean, it's still the
flights.
rental car, it's still the flights, it's still a hotel room. It's just maybe not 2 nights there.
Yeah. And you're
it's still
exhausted.
food.
We won't do that. No.
Yeah,
it's not fun. Like if I'm going to travel somewhere, I want to stay an extra day and like go do some cool shit too.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's a lot of money to do a club. And
yeah, and then every event, like even if you're lucky enough to live in a club, let's say you live somewhere where there's a big club, like, you know, you live in, I don't know, Atlanta, and you're close to, you know.
Trapeze.
You're close to Trapeze. Sorry, I don't know why their name wouldn't come to me. But, you know, you live near a big club and you go every weekend or, you know, whatever. It's still your membership fees, your month, you know, your weekly party fees, and then you have to still like $80-$90, sometimes a couple, depending on where you go. And then it's
then your drinks there,
and then you're bringing alcohol,
yep.
And then or has an open bar, and then the outfits, you gotta like, a lot of them are themed, and so it's like, oh, well, I gotta get something neon this week,
yep.
Or I gotta get a leather skirt, or
and then,
I wore this outfit last weekend, I can't wear it again. And then you can get cheap shit off Shein, and you know, on Amazon and stuff, but even then you still buy a bunch of outfits, because half the stuff doesn't work. I
you know,
buy like 3 different things, so I'm like, I don't know what's gonna fit.
Yeah.
And I panic buy.
And then you also, the days that you're going to a club, even if it's local, you're probably not going to sit at home and cook a meal, so you're getting food, or you're going still out to eat.
And if you have a babysitter, you're paying a babysitter. Like, it's just a whole thing. And like, even here locally, our club, it's a little like small, it's not like a club. It's a lifestyle event center. You know, and they do a couple events a month only, but it's still $60 a time if you pay ahead of time, or it's 70 or 80.
Yeah, at the door.
And then if you do that twice a month,
and then it's bring your own beverage, so now you're bringing $20 worth of drinks, so now you're up to $100.
Yeah, like it's a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
So, and Ubers
and then of course most people
an Uber,
but then, you know, you babysitters now all of a sudden too, so you're paying a babysitter that night. Now you're paying for the kids' food, because you got to get them pizza or whatever. I mean, people don't really think into account all these different expenses out there, and that's why, you know, if you think you have to do this nonstop, you don't, because you'll go broke.
Yeah.
You know, you're literally in this lifestyle. I think.
Well, no, there's also so many people who are swingers that don't go to the clubs all the time and stuff like that. Like, some people just have their friends over for dinner, or meet their friends for dinner, or go to a baseball game with their friends, and, you know, or have a little house party, which is a lot cheaper. You know, like, there's still like, there are like the other side of it that isn't shown as much on social media is more the, like, you know, few couples hanging out, or house parties, or just meet and greets at a bar.
Yeah.
Like, that is not just big clubs, orgies, everyone's fucking everybody, dressed to the nines. Like, that's not, again, that's mostly what people see on social media.
Yeah, no, and I don't think a lot of people even share on like social media the realities of it too. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I can say this. And I think maybe it stands true, I think, for everybody in a sense, but like, say you'd see me and you're like, oh, okay, that guy, he's kind of cute or whatever, but then you see me just fucking all these different people. Guess what? You're probably less likely to want to fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is we don't play publicly locally.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to show everybody that.
What you looking for?
My ribbon.
And yeah, I think that's something that like a lot of people don't really talk about is like, I don't necessarily want to play with somebody who I've seen you like fuck 100 different people or 20 different, it doesn't excite me. You know what I mean? It takes that thrill away.
That we are friends with or become friends with, and all of a sudden we follow one OnlyFans or something like that, and you're like, oh, I've literally seen you fuck a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's a reality of this lifestyle is like, a lot of people...
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of things that can work against you. I think a lot of things that can work for you. And yeah, I think a lot of it just gets portrayed very wrong of how it is.
So the moral of the story is that the majority of swingers, let's say there's 100,000 swingers, I'm just gonna, 100,000 swingers, 100 of them are on social media.
Yeah, no, there's very few on social media.
You know what I mean?
Reality.
And so that's not, you don't have to do social media, because people ask us all the time, what if my people find out? What if my friends find out? What if, I'm just not ready to be public? Like, who said you had to be public? Like, you know how many friends and people we know that are not public? And you go out with your, and like, oh, what are our kids going to say? Right? You don't need to tell your kids where you're going. Like, you don't have to be this, like, swinger to be a swinger.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just that thing. It's like, I don't understand why people think that they have to share with everybody, or where this whole perception came that if you're a swinger, you have to tell like everybody in your life now all of a sudden that you're a swinger. Mm-hmm. Because no non-swingers get onto swinger apps. The only people that get onto swinger apps are either people that want to cheat on their spouse or swingers.
Yeah, and
that's it.
Nobody even knows if you're not a swinger, like, you don't know what swinger apps are.
Well, we were in the lifestyle for a little while. We didn't even know about swinger apps,
I know,
We're like, how do we meet other swingers?
I know, and finally I was like, oh, like, I remember the very beginning, I was like, oh, there's apps out there?
Yeah.
Cool. Like a dating app, but for swingers?
Oh my God. And then you sign up and you realize there's all these people on there and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then you see some people you know and you're like, oh man, I didn't know you were a swinger.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
And
we thought we're super strict Mormon. Oh.
Hey, what's up?
Didn't know you were on here.
But yeah, I think social media has done a lot of good for it, but I think it's done also
a lot of harm.
A lot of harm.
And there's and then internally, let's also discuss very quickly internally the social media people against other social media people. The hate, like the nastiest, one of the nastiest communities I've ever met are social media people.
Yeah.
Other social media creators versus other social media, how mean they are. I was like, oh my God, we're all creators. Oh, we're all going to be friends. Look at all of us girls. We can all just get along. Nope, not the case. They all fucking hate each other for God knows what. There's always drama. Somebody always hates somebody. Like, I literally had somebody yesterday tell another person that they did not like us because they did not like our app, because they thought that we were unicorn hunters, which, again, people have said, but it's not just for people looking for unicorns, it's for all women. We don't believe in hunting unicorns. We're not forcing unicorns to be on our app. They come willingly. They also want to find couples. It's girls connecting, whatever. I don't even, that's my spiel. But anyway. Are you a female 18 and over interested in the lifestyle? Come join other like-minded women at unicornlanding.com or download the app on Google Play or iOS today. Anyways, whatever. And they're like, and they have a problem with us. And then they told the person, they, as in us, have a problem with us because we spoke the truth on our podcast about not liking them. And I was like, who the fuck? I was like, first of all, who the fuck are you? I didn't listen to your podcast. I didn't fucking shit. I don't fucking have a problem with you because I didn't know who the fuck you are. And I didn't know you didn't like me, but now okay.
Now I do. Okay.
And I'm just like, I'm like, why? Like, why do y'all hate each other? Like, that's our biggest thing. So many podcasters hate other podcasts. Like, it's the meanest group of people I've
I've
ever met.
I've never just seen double standards where people try to go and talk about how it's accepting and stuff, and then you get slammed with people that are like, well, this is the way you have to be swingers, or that boundary's dumb. They have jealousy issues. They shouldn't even be in this lifestyle. Like, everybody, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, just so many people are so mean to other, like, so many creators.
And,
I don't know.
and we watching people just be mean to other people, you know, like, don't talk about this lifestyle unless you've been in it for 5 years. Okay, didn't realize there was a book somewhere that I missed.
Were told that too. You should be able to, you can't educate on the lifestyle or talk about the lifestyle or talk about your experiences if you haven't been in a lifestyle for 5 years. I'm like, you could be in a lifestyle one day and talk about your experience.
Yeah. Be like, hey, we woke up and we thought about this and this is how our conversation went.
It's called social media and content creation for a reason. And you know, it's the really, really cool thing. The best thing that I have learned and the best thing that I've ever done for myself and my well-being and my mental health and anything.
What's that?
Is the fucking block button. If you don't like me, block me. If I trigger you or I make you angry in some sort of way, there is a block button. You don't have to listen to my podcast. You don't have to download my app. You don't have to look at me. You don't have to. Out of sight, out of mind. It has done such wonders. If somebody triggers me or I don't like something, even people I have fucking blocked on social media, I love it. I just feel like my life is like.
Yeah, I don't, and that's.
It's like boring. Like, my social media content's boring because it's like there's nothing that triggers me, and if you just fucking block people. Why are you so mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because people and everyone's like, oh, it's just they're jealous. And I'm like, I don't like to say that because I'm like, oh, everyone's jealous of me. People are mean to me. But it's like, what are you really angry about? Are you really angry that I haven't been in a lifestyle for 5 years? Or is there something that I did or said that triggered you?
Are you angry that that you think maybe I'm taking your viewers away?
Like,
what are you mad about?
Listen to me over you. Are you angry that I created my app and maybe that I'm like gonna make money off of that? Like, no one's forcing you to use it. Like, I don't know what people are angry about. If you don't like something, don't use it, don't listen to it, don't look at it, don't do it. Like,
no, well, it makes it's mentally healthy. I mean, there's a lot of content creators. If I see certain content creators duets or collabs or anything like that pop up, I even block that new creator, whoever it is, because I'm like, I'm not even going to run the risk of them doing more content with this person. And guess what? Out of sight, out of mind, and you forget all about it, and you live this happier life because you don't have.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh no, you just don't have any of that, like, just that anger and stuff that kind of like builds up, and mine just. Yeah, like my day-to-day life, you guys pretend, like if I walked away, like I think that's another thing too, people get so wrapped up in social media is my life. If I walked away from it, like, yeah, I mean, it's good for business and all of that, but I also I would still have the exact same life I live every single day. I wake up, I have a husband, I've got kids, I've got a business I run, which could be completely off of social media if I wanted to. I've got friends, I've got family, I've got things, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be who you are. It doesn't define who you are as a person, and I think people sometimes forget that. The number, you know what I mean? Like, it's... Oh, yeah, no, you get absorbed into the numbers, and you start thinking that's who you are.
Like, as soon as I start blocking all those people I don't like, I'm like, oh, my life is very peaceful. Like, I love my life. Like, I don't need to see these people. I don't need to be a part of them. And there's such... And then even going to these events, like our Vegas, when we went to Vegas, and then our North Carolina event, all of that it's so eye-opening how much bigger the lifestyle is besides of what you just see on TikTok or social media. I'm like, oh, there's people that I'm meeting that I've never seen on social media who are big influencers or have businesses in the lifestyle, and you know what I mean? These people, like, and they're good people.
No, they're good people, and it's like, you know, I think people are...
To Oregon. We just crossed the border into Oregon for anyone that cares.
I think people are, you know, even go that, well, I have a voice and I want to speak the truth or whatever, and I just think that's a way to just lash out and be angry in a sense. And that's the thing is, like, instead of doing mean videos or TikToks or trying to talk crap on somebody or try to say somebody doesn't know what they're talking about, or just block them and go do your own life.
Yeah, focus on your own life and your own beliefs and your own, like, you don't have to bash other people. And if you are bashing other people or outwardly speaking ill of people on platforms, and I mean, we're speaking ill of bad people. We're not calling out any names, but if you're like saying mean things about certain people or whatever, like, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
And if you don't like me, you don't like there's a ways to step away.
Yeah, no, it's that, and it's also, I think that's one of the things that
social media doesn't make you better or more knowledgeable or anything than any other regular person.
Yeah, and I think that's where we do struggle at times with the balance between social media and being swingers and personal life and all of that.
I personally feel like we have kind of like, does this truck just want to get over in front of us? I personally feel like we have done a lot better of balancing it the last like year. I think we've really, and Eric is guilty of letting social media control his life with his whole.
Oh yeah, no, I have been. I still even get that way, but you do help reel me back in.
Yeah, I think you've toned it down a lot, and you've like, because when I first met Eric like several years ago, and he had his big account, it was very like, I was like, do you do other things? Like,
no, we do TikToks.
Like,
we do lives.
Like, he was just obsessed with like, that was who he was, and he thought it defined him, and it was a lot of like, I mean, growth and therapy and conversations about him realizing if it was gone, if it all was gone, who are you without social media? Who are you on a day-to-day basis with the real people in your life that you can touch, feel, hug, love? Like, who are you? And that's like, I don't know, you've changed a lot since I've met you.
Hopefully for the better. But and it's true too, and even to the fact of like, once you start letting that all go, you really, the thing that I guess that had bothered me and where I really had a lot of eye openers is how many, like, everybody in the swinger lifestyle does preach like kindness and acceptance and all this, and everybody says that, and then they talk shit about people.
Yeah,
and you're just
they're like, if everybody would just accept swingers, we need to make swinging mainstream, and everybody just needs to be more accepting. But you're all fucking mean to each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that makes sense.
And I didn't see some of the things on Reddit where they're like, aren't they swingers? Shouldn't they all like be really good at sharing and getting along? No,
apparently not.
They're not.
And that is that's the part that I do like even just going to the events and going to stuff that's not social media driven.
Yeah, and you meet real swingers and real day-to-day people, like our club, like our like little club or lifestyle events are here. The people that we all know here, they're not all on social media. And it's just kind, no drama. Like, everyone, nobody gives a fuck who we are, what we've done. Like, I mean, some people be like, oh, we'll watch your guys' stuff. We're like, oh, thanks. And then they realize you're like, you guys are just like normal. Like, we're like, yeah, we're just normal, everyday people.
Yeah, like no different.
We don't think we're anybody special. This is just kind of what we started doing. And like, we look at it as a job now. Like, we realize that social media is our job over here, and then this is our life over here, and we're able to shut that off now. Like, that's not who we are.
Yeah, and it's hard to shut it off sometimes, you know. But
not for me anymore.
But yeah, then all of a sudden you get to this point where you really get to the point of like, you know what? Screw this. Like, this is who I am, and I don't have to be fake, and I can just enjoy.
It'll just take you further in life. Mean Girl, I read something that Mean Girls Go Fire. One creator, and I want to tag her, and I don't know who it is, and she's not a lifestyle creator, but she was attacked for some stuff, and it was Mean Girls Go Far in high school, kind women go far in life, and that is but for people too, not just women. But so
that's our thoughts.
Yeah. Social media is not the reality of swinging, everything you see. And it's okay to be quiet and more reserved and conservative in your swinging style. And you don't have to be flashy or showy or public to be in the lifestyle and to have fun and make friends and like find your people. Like, it doesn't have to be. Don't try to fit in with popular girls or the mean girls. Like, it won't get you anywhere, and it won't make you happy. Just find people that love you and care about you, and I promise you, your life will be so much better. Is that a fire?
I don't know.
So the end. Same time, same place.
Yeah.
Probably in the car. Maybe on the way home I'll film another one, so we'll have two.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us again. Make sure to check out theimpulsiveduo.com for all of our social media content and more resources.